Hi there, welcome back to the Life on the Film Set podcast. My name is Nick Payne and this is...
And I'm George Arthur.
Hi George, how you going?
Good, and yourself?
Oh, very good.
Awesome.
Very good. This is a podcast about...
How to work on a film set and get better at it.
How to be great at it.
Great at it, sorry.
Yes. How to manage complex relationships,
Yes.
work as a team,
Exactly.
all the good stuff. All the good stuff. This is, what are we up to? Episode 4.
4.
Episode
yes.
4. This is our second last of our
Podcast?
season.
Yeah, it's the season.
Maybe
yes.
we'll do a second season.
Yes.
Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, for now, this is what we've started with. And today on the table,
topic is
we have
the camera.
we
So I
have
thought you're gonna go in the camera, the topic, but yes, it's a Nikonos V.
V, which is Roman numerals.
Yes, number 5.
5, yes, well done. Yes, this is a Nikonos 5, which is a underwater camera from the 1970s, 60s and 70s. The previous model, the Nikonos 4, if you're a James Bond fan
Yeah.
and you watch the movie Thunderball, when Q turns up in Jamaica and gives them gear,
okay.
one of the things he gives them is...
One of those.
Yeah, Nikonos
Nice.
4, which in the film has a Geiger counter built into it.
Nice. I like it.
But yeah, it's a very cool camera. So let me recap what we've spoken about
Yeah.
so far.
Sure.
So in our first episode, we talked about leading and following.
Yes.
And in particular, the idea of using intent
Yeah.
to communicate
Yes.
with each other. In episode 2, we talked about the flow of work,
Yes.
how to understand the relationship between the work that different departments do,
Yes.
and how to optimize the flow of work between departments,
Yes.
so that you're making the most of everybody that you've got on set,
Yes.
and you don't have people standing around doing
Doing
nothing.
Yep.
And as part of that, we talked a lot about teamwork and
Yeah. Helping each other.
helping each other and what is called generalizing specialists, so
Yeah.
people who are prepared to roll up their sleeves and help
Help
in
other
areas
departments.
that's not their speciality. Then episode 3, which was the last one, we talked about innovation.
Yes.
And we talked about the spectrum of work, where at one end you can optimize for speed
Yes.
and be really good at that and
Yep.
create tremendous amounts of value in terms of creating a lot of output and making lots of money.
Yes.
Or you can be at the other end of the spectrum where you optimize for innovation and
Yep.
you have less output, but the quality of your output
Is-
is
yeah.
amazing.
Exactly.
And I said the last place you want to be is in the middle.
Yeah. You don't want to be in the middle.
No, because in the
No.
middle you're just producing stuff that
Yeah.
anybody else could.
Yes.
It's at the extremes where you really excel
Yes.
and be great. And so you've got to decide whether you want to be about speed and output,
Yep.
execution, or you want to be about innovation
Innovation,
and creating
yeah.
something good. And we talked about a whole bunch of things. We talked about creating time for experiments
Yes.
and testing.
Yep.
Test.
Exactly.
And we also talked about the importance of teams that have been together for long
Long
enough
term. Yes.
to be able to bounce ideas off each other and
Yep.
ideate, because that's where innovation
Exactly.
comes from.
Yeah. Yeah. Because once they're unified and then they know exactly what they're gonna do, and then help each other as well.
Yeah, and a lot, and some of it, like a big part of it, is about psychological safety.
Yes.
So having an environment where I can say, actually, George, I think you're wrong.
Yeah.
Like that idea you're suggesting, I don't think will work because of X, Y, and Z.
Yes.
Knowing that you'll go, oh yeah, you got a point there.
Yep.
So that's
Yeah,
that's when
exactly.
innovation occurs, when
That's-
people can talk to each other
Yeah.
about these things and it's you're not offending each other. You are
No. Exactly.
you're in it for the outcome
Yes.
of what you're trying to create.
Exactly. And then a safe environment as well.
Yeah.
To keep a safe environment, and then help each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. So
So
today,
today we're going to talk about estimation.
Yep.
you're planning something. Like, let's say you're the first AD, and you're going, I need to put together the schedule for the day. So, in order to do that, I need some estimates about how long it will take to do
Yeah.
stuff. In a sense, this is not as abstract as creating an environment for innovation or leadership or stuff like that. But it's pretty fundamental to what we do.
Yes.
So I want to start off by asking you a question,
Sure.
which I do every time.
Yes, you do. Yep.
Do it again. And today's question is can you tell me about a time you received a call sheet
Yep.
and you opened it up, you looked at it, and you went, "Oh my goodness, they must be dreaming."
Yeah. Yes. One of them was the first day of the shoot was 2 o'clock in the morning.
3 a.m.
3 a.m.
3 a.m. Yeah, we were
Yes.
both on this one.
Yes, that's right. We were together on that one. But yeah, like I was like, no way.
Yeah. No, I remember that one because I had a preview screening the night before
Yes.
of a short film that I'd made,
Yes.
which is called Lifeboat, and so I was like I'm not going to be home till midnight.
That's right.
And then if I've got to go pick you up,
Exactly.
and pick Ian up,
Yes.
and then drive an hour down to the northern beaches,
That's
like I can go to bed at midnight and get up at 1.
no way. Like 1 hour sleep. No, it was impossible.
It was
yeah.
impossible. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
A bit
And then
nuts.
everyone was happy because of that. Like because we didn't go out.
Yes, I refused. I
Yeah.
said, this is ridiculous. There's got to be a better way
Yeah.
to do this.
Exactly.
And after a bunch of back and forth, there was.
Yes.
And we had a much more sensible call time of
Yep.
6 a.m., I think. And then we went on set, and everybody's coming up to me, like the director comes up to me and goes, "Oh, I'm so glad that you
Yeah.
made us change that."
Yeah.
The DP comes up to me and goes, "Oh, I'm so glad
Exactly.
you made it."
Exactly.
The first AD goes, "I'm so glad." I'm like, who the hell came up with this idea in the first
exactly
place?
right. And then the second one was we did another short film together.
Yeah. I know the
So
one.
they did. First day was 6 pages, and then the second day was 6 pages.
6 pages. Yeah.
So both days, like it should have been divided. Because they should have gone scene by scene, not page by page.
Yeah, I remember this one because, it was 12 pages, and
Yeah.
the first AD just went, 6 the first day, 6
Yeah.
the next. And the first day we were just
Too much.
too much. Go,
Exactly.
go.
Yeah.
And the last shot of the night, which was the most important
Yes.
scene of the whole thing,
Yeah.
like we really under-delivered on it.
Yeah.
Because we were so tired and we
absolutely.
were trying to
Yeah.
get done. And then the next day, we were sitting around twiddling our thumbs. And
Yes.
and what had happened was that it was by dividing
It was
it up,
less scenes on the second day.
there was less setups.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
it was less setups, like less scenes.
Yeah.
And then the first day was chaos.
Yeah, it was chaos. It was hard work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Those are the two.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that one is a really good example
Yeah.
of the importance of good estimations. In order to be able to create a plan that is like that you're able to deliver on.
Yes.
Because if we had balanced those 2 days out, we would have done a lot better job on
Yeah.
some of the scenes we did on that
exactly,
first day that we
exactly.
were just too pushed for time
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Especially the kitchen, your favorite spot.
Hated the kitchen. Don't get me started on the kitchen. Cool.
Yep.
So let's talk about estimation.
Sure.
And so I've got a bunch of kind of techniques that you can try
Yep.
for estimation, and this is stuff that comes from other industries that I think is worth trying. But there's kind of there's some fundamental things to say about estimation before I talk about those techniques that's really important to understand.
Yeah.
And fundamentally it's this: human beings are bad
With
at estimation.
That's human nature.
It is. It is human nature. And there is really smart people who've done like very detailed studies on this
Studies,
stuff.
okay.
And written these, intensely boring academic papers that say people are bad at estimating.
Okay.
Like it's the reality.
Yes.
We are looking into the future
Yes.
and we're trying to guess the future on the basis of a limited amount of information.
Yes.
You know, so all you can ever say about estimates is that this is our best guess at the time we made it.
Yeah.
And so by definition, whatever estimate you come up with for whatever it is, it's wrong,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
never a case of going,
100%.
this is going to take an hour and a half, and have it take exactly an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Might be quicker, it might be longer, but it will very, very rarely be.
99.9% is
That's right.
over.
Yeah, 99.9%. It's never exactly what you said it would be.
Exactly.
So that's that's kind of the fundamental mindset you've got to go into a day, is going, we've got a plan for the day, but this plan is based on guesses.
Yeah.
And it's going to be wrong. And so as we go through the day, we need to inspect how we're going, and we need to adapt
Yes.
and make things work
Yeah.
and just embrace change.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Cool. So here's the first technique I
Yep.
want to talk about.
Sure.
But I'm going to ask you a question first.
Sure.
So I want you to imagine that
Yeah.
you're shooting a scene in a Lebanese restaurant
Yeah.
in Surrey Hills.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Being sneaky, because he's done that already.
Oh yeah. I have.
And I'm just going to ask you the question: how long will the first setup take?
Honestly, man, like, it took a while. I'll be honest with you, because it was the second floor.
Yep.
The room was the second floor. The staircase was so narrow, so
Yep.
we had to move everything upstairs, every single gear.
Yep.
Like from camera to dolly,
Yep.
crane. So that took, and then the cars was further, like we had to park a couple of streets down.
Miles away. Yeah.
Exactly. And then few cars was in a car park. So someone has to take me to the car park
Yep.
to pick up some stuff from Susan's, the DP's van.
Yep.
And then come back. So we had to do a few times like that, because
Yep.
we missed something, you know?
Yep.
So, yeah, it was really, definitely we went overtime regardless.
Yep.
It was hard to estimate because the location.
Yep.
So, because we had to park the car further away. So everything we had to take it upstairs. So at least maybe 2.5 hours before we set up.
Before you started
We
setting
started
up
setting
in
up
there.
the gear and camera, yeah.
So that was just 2.5
Just-
hours
Just
getting into
roughly
the location.
Roughly to the location, yeah.
Far out, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And presumably, like if somebody had asked you the day before, how long would it take? You would have said something less than 2.5 hours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
It was one of the toughest locations.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've seen the footage. The staircase is
Yes, it
like
was so
unbelievably narrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it was complicated shots too. So crane shots. Then we had the 360. You know, the
Yes.
camera is spinning.
Yep.
So it's all like dolly move and then all that. So it's just a lot of time to
And a lot of quite specialist gear to
exactly
get in
exactly
to a small space to do
Yes.
that. Yeah, cool. So, I mean, that's a really interesting story, because
Yeah.
you've got, on one hand, you've gone, how long will it take? Oh, an hour and a half. But then in reality, it took much longer.
Longer,
Took 2.5 hours.
Exactly.
And there's this really interesting kind of feature of human beings,
Yeah.
which is that we're optimistic.
Yes.
So anytime somebody asks you for an estimate,
Yeah.
as a human being, you subconsciously are optimistic.
Yeah.
And you go, and the answer that people will always give you
Yeah.
will always be the best case
Yes.
scenario.
Yeah.
That doesn't include any contingency
Yes.
for things going wrong.
Yeah.
So here's the first technique that's really simple for whenever anybody comes to you and goes, how long will it take to do X? And this technique is to give an answer with a range.
Yes.
So to go, best case scenario, it'll take an hour.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, maybe 2.5 hours
Yeah.
at the worst.
Yeah.
And, so if you answer, let's say the first AD that way, what do you think they're likely to say?
They say
Yeah, what do you think they'd say if you gave them a range like that?
at the range they'd be happy.
Yeah. Most of the time they'll
They'll be
go,
happy. Okay.
okay, so what if I allow an hour and a half?
Yeah.
Or 2 hours?
Yeah.
And you go, okay, cool.
That's
That
perfect.
sounds good.
Yeah.
And the thing that then, of course, what happens is if you get that done in an hour,
Yeah.
you're ahead,
Exactly.
right? And
Exactly. Yeah.
everybody's happy. Even better, this is going back to last week, you've got some time
Yes.
to fiddle and
Exactly.
innovate
That's right.
and
That's right.
make things better.
Yeah.
If it takes longer,
Yes.
right? If you're fucking pushing 2 hours, 2.5 hours, nobody's surprised
Yeah.
because they've always known that this is a possibility
Yes.
of what will happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's so simple.
It is.
Like,
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Somebody's, how long will it take to change a battery? 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Right?
Max.
There's your answer.
That's
yeah.
like the max is
Yeah.
not even like even not
Yeah,
even.
yeah.
Like,
Don't say 5 minutes. Say
Yeah.
5 to 10.
exactly.
So that's the first technique.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let me look at my notes for the second one. Okay, so this one is about contingencies as well.
Yeah.
All right. And so this one is the idea of estimating things on a curve.
Yes.
And
Yep.
let me explain what I mean. So there's a thing in nature that occurs all around us called the Fibonacci sequence. It's this
Yep.
maths sequence of numbers.
Sure.
And it goes 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13,
Yep.
21, 30,
And then goes up.
35. If you were to plot that as a graph,
Yes.
it's a curve.
Yeah.
It's a curve that,
Yeah.
that bends upwards. And the way that particular sequence works is that you add the two numbers beforehand together to get your
To the
current
next one.
number.
Yep.
So 1 plus 2 equals 3, 2 plus 3 equals 5,
Yep.
3 plus 5 equals 8, 5 plus 8 equals 13, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes.
And it can go on forever. But the underlying concept behind this is the bigger something is, the more uncertain it is,
Yep,
right?
yep.
The longer something will take,
That's right. That's right.
the less certain you can be about exactly how long it will take.
Yeah.
So by using a curved scale like this, this is a technique that forces you to add contingency
Yes.
into your estimates.
Yes.
So for instance, if, right, imagining that scale, I come to you and I go, how long will it take to change this lens?
Yeah.
And you go, in your mind, you go, it'll take longer than 5 minutes, but it'll take less than 8 minutes.
Yeah.
The answer is
8 minutes.
8 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? You go up the scale. You don't say 6 or 7, you go 8. If I come to you and go, how long will this take? And you go, it'll take longer than 30 minutes,
Yes.
but less than 50 minutes.
Yeah.
Say 50 minutes. And that is...
The max.
Well, yeah, that's, you're going, well, it should take less than 50 minutes.
Yeah.
But guess what?
Yeah. Exactly. Sometimes it doesn't.
Sometimes it doesn't, yeah. And when
Definitely
it
doesn't.
doesn't, you go, I've already added
That's-
some contingency
Yes.
into the estimates to
Exactly.
allow for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, it's sometimes it's really difficult to estimate. Like, really,
Yeah.
like, even if you give that, sometimes, you need to give even more, in
Yeah.
my opinion. It's just, again, when I, like earlier I said, like, location, like, that's
Yeah.
that's the one of the biggest, especially when you have a lot of company move.
Yeah. Company moves are a killer.
It's the killer.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you are in like one location, and
Yep.
then you can estimate no problem.
Yep.
Is definitely if you're there for a week or a few days,
Yeah.
no worries.
Yeah,
You can estimate much easily.
Yeah. And I mean, the other thing that happens is that, I mean, your best estimates are estimates that are based on history.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if let's say you're a first AD
Yeah.
and you ask somebody a question about an estimate, here's a different way of wording the question.
Yes.
So instead of me going, how long do you think this setup will take? If I ask the question, when was the last time you did a setup that was similar to this and how long did it take?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
That's a
a
good
different
idea.
question, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's actually a really accurate way
Yeah.
to get a good estimate.
Exactly.
Because you're immediately basing the estimate on some sort of reality. And
Yeah, like the reason I was saying locations when the company move, because you have to pack and unpack again.
yep,
So that takes time. So every time we're doing that, so we're losing time.
yep, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, the other things that affect how long it will take is what's the amount of gear you've got,
That's exactly
amount
right.
of gear,
Yes.
type of gear.
Yes.
What's the experience of your crew?
Yes. Exactly.
Is this the first day
Yeah.
of production, or is it the fifth week
That's
of
right.
production?
That's right. That's right.
They're all things that
Yep.
affect.
And because it comes to, so we have to charge the batteries. So
Yep.
where are we going to charge the batteries?
Yep.
Where the gear's going to go?
Yep.
It's going to stay in the car. It's all that. It's
Yep.
for the camera department I'm talking.
Yep.
But then we have, say, art department.
Yep.
We have the sound. Like all of everyone else is
Yep.
just involved for that company move.
Yep.
So everyone has to go to that
Packed up,
location.
move,
Move.
unpack
Yeah.
again.
So
Yeah.
that's the reason sometimes it's hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. So here's the third technique.
Yep.
So this technique is about avoiding peer pressure.
Yep.
All right, and avoiding confirmation biases and those sorts of things. So I want you to imagine this situation. First AD is having a meeting with the DP,
Yep.
the gaffer,
Yep.
and the grip in order to get some estimates to start putting together
Yes.
a schedule.
Yeah.
And the first AD says to the three of them, "Oh, how long will this setup take?" The DP is sitting there, and in his mind, he or she is thinking, "I think this will take an hour." The grip is sitting there, and they're thinking, "I think this will take half an hour." The gaffer's sitting there going, "This is quite complex. I think it'll take 3 hours."
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So there's a range of
That's a big difference.
views,
Yeah.
right? And that's normal,
Yep.
right? Because everybody's
Yeah. Absolutely. Every department is different.
and everybody's looking at different parts
That's
of it,
right.
right?
That's right.
And so imagine then that the DP goes, "Oh, I think this will take an hour." Now, what do you think is going on in the gaffer's head when he
Oh,
hears that?
He's stressing. That's one. And he
Yep.
goes, "Am I wrong? You know,
Yep.
did I estimate wrong?"
Yep.
And yeah, that's what is he's like. You know, oh, gee, like
DP thinks it's
yeah,
an hour.
exactly.
I must be wrong. I
Yeah.
can't be right. So this is
Yes.
this is just human nature.
Yes.
It's a form of peer pressure, but it's not like bullying type peer pressure. It's just
Yeah.
like it's just the bias that happens when we, if I report to the DP and they're more experienced than
Yeah.
I and they say an hour, my tendency as a human being is to start to doubt my estimate.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so then the first AD goes to me, "Oh, what do you think?" The immediate tendency is for me to change my estimate from 3 hours to something closer to
Yeah.
what the DP said. All right. And that can be a problem because
Yes.
the DP could be wrong.
Yeah, true, true. Also, I believe they should come all together and then talk about it.
Yeah. So this is the way to avoid
Yeah.
this kind of subconscious
Yes.
peer pressure. Instead of going, one by one, what do you think?
That's right. Yes.
What you do is you ask everybody to write their estimate down.
Okay. Yeah.
And then
that's
you
a good
go,
idea. Yep.
on the count of 3,
Yeah.
show me your estimates. 1, 2, 3, go.
Yeah.
They all go, boom. And they reveal their estimates at the same time. And so
Yes.
you go, an hour, half an hour, 3 hours. And then what you do is you talk to the outliers.
Yeah.
So in that case, half an hour and 3 hours are the two outliers.
Yep.
And you'd probably go, let's talk to the 3 hours because that's
Yep.
the bigger one. So you say to the gaffer, why do you think 3 hours?
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
And the gaffer will go, well, because
I need the scissor lift. I need
Yep.
this. I'm gonna put the 18.
yeah,
HMI.
that's right. There's no 3-phase.
Yeah,
I need to get
exactly.
the generator set up.
Yep.
Blah, blah, blah,
Blah
blah,
blah blah.
blah,
Yeah,
blah.
exactly.
So, right, so they say that.
Yeah.
And what could happen with the DP? What might they start thinking?
They go. Oh, okay. In that case, maybe we can compromise, some of that short or that specific.
Yep.
Maybe we don't need that 18K. we can use something else instead,
Yep.
and that will reduce the time. You know.
Yeah. So the DP might go, oh, geez, I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I was really wrong. You're right. Yeah, we need 3 hours.
Yes.
So that's one possibility.
Yeah.
But another possibility, like you say, is the DP might go, oh, that is complicated. I wonder what would happen if we did this instead.
Instead, yes, exactly.
And the gaffer might go then, oh, yeah, that I could do in an hour.
Yeah.
And the DP might go, well, that's actually fine. That gives me the same outcome that I'm after in less time.
Exactly. Yeah.
But the only way those conversations happen,
It's talking together.
which is what you said. Like,
Yeah.
because, like I said before, everybody's looking at different aspects
That's right.
of the problem.
Yeah.
And so the only way to really get a good estimate is to have those different perspectives. Yeah.
Communication. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the old parable of the blind men and the elephant,
Oh yeah.
where all these blind men are standing around an elephant
Yep.
and holding different parts of it.
Yep.
One's touching the leg and goes, oh, it's a tree trunk. The other's holding a different part and he says it's something else.
Yep.
And none of them have it right. But when they start talking to each other, they go, oh, this is an elephant.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
the combination
of talking to each other. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
of all the information.
Yes.
Cool. So that was the third one. Okay, right. I'm going to ask you a question.
Sure.
So you're looking at a script. Let's say you're George the first AD.
Yep.
You're looking at a script and you're going, I need some estimates on this. What is the size of the estimable items that you will take to the crew to ask them to estimate? Are you going to ask them to estimate how long it will take to shoot a page, to shoot a scene, or shoot a shot?
I'll go with scenes.
Scene.
Yeah.
Okay. What's that?
Because it depends how many setups each scene has.
Yep.
So that way you can estimate, okay, this scene is going to take us, say, half a day, for example.
Yep.
And then you add another maybe hour and a half on top of that. So to be safe side.
Bit of contingency. Yep.
Yeah, just you got to add that. And then yeah, from that point you go scene by scene and then you can go each department, okay,
Yep.
for today's scene, like, what do you need or how long it's going to take for you to,
Yep.
the art, so art department, how long,
Yep.
Then you go gaffer, the makeup,
Yep.
all of them. So you guys, yeah, you just talk to them with scene by scene.
Yeah. Cool.
I think that's the best way to.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, and that's certainly what I do. So yeah, we've talked about pages being a poor unit to estimate on.
Yeah. Some productions, like say TV shows, they go with pages. So they do, of course, page by page.
Yep.
That's totally different, personally, I prefer scene by scene,
Yeah. I mean, I was just on a feature, so we had a 4-week shoot, so
Yes.
20 shooting days.
Yes.
And the producer had done the high level schedule and balanced it out by pages.
Okay.
So 6 to 7 pages a day, which is quite a lot.
Okay, it is, yeah.
It is a lot. And then as I was going through, I was working on scenes.
Yeah.
And so we needed to be doing, kind of 5 scenes a day
Yeah.
on average
Yes.
to get through everything. So some days we would do 3 to 4. Some days would be 5 to 6.
Yeah.
There was days where we did 7 scenes.
Okay.
Right? Because,
Yeah.
but the scene was an eighth of a page.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
It depends on the scenes. Yeah.
Yeah, and fundamentally it's the setup.
Yes.
Is the thing.
That's right. How complicated is the scene
Yeah.
to shoot,
Yeah.
So it's, all of
Yeah.
the.
Now, some people try to estimate down at the shot level,
Okay, yeah.
right? To go, there are 5 shots in this scene. How long for this shot? How long for that shot? How long for the next shot? I avoid that, so I advise against that.
I agree.
Because it takes longer to do
Yes.
to get those estimates. And as soon as the first of those shots goes over time,
Yeah.
the maths that you need to do on the fly,
For the next scenes.
to work out
Yeah.
where you're at is incredibly complicated.
Yes.
Whereas when you estimate on a scene, you're actually allowing contingency automatically
Yeah, exactly.
within that.
Yeah. And then you also you're gonna start looking to compromise for performance or
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, what I often find is the first shot of a scene takes longer.
yeah. Yeah.
But then after that you get faster at the shots.
Yes. Correct.
And so the estimates for, like, if you were to estimate at that shot level, again, like the time it takes in reality varies
Exactly.
as to whether it's the first shot in the scene
Yeah.
or in the setup or the last shot
Yeah.
in the setup, because you get in a groove.
Exactly.
You get the setup right. You
And again,
quicker.
if the setup's not changing as much, the shot by shot, then it's going to be quicker.
yeah.
But if each shot is going to change, then that's different
Then there's
again.
more setup. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. So that's, I'd agree with that. It really is setup that's key.
Yeah.
And don't make your estimable chunks too small.
Yes.
It'll drive you mad. Make them medium sized, and then that allows for some ebb and flow.
Exactly.
So here's the fifth thing.
You sure?
And I'm gonna start this off as a question,
Yep.
but then explain what I mean. So the question is how do you measure, like, how do you actually measure the reality? Like, how do you measure the speed,
The speed of
of your particular crew
yeah.
with your particular gear in your particular location,
Yes.
and then adjust your plan on the fly to reflect that reality?
Well, that's a good question.
It is.
It is a good question.
Because we've spoken about the variability.
Yes.
That the first shot of a setup takes longer than the last one.
That's right. That's right.
The first shot of a production
Yep.
will take longer than the last
Exactly.
one.
And also, like if you're working with a new crew,
Yep.
it's going to be slower than the people you work with before,
Yep.
and that's going to be faster because
Yep.
you guys know how to work each other.
Yep.
So they might take a few days to get comfortable.
Yeah.
And again, it's just that's why
Yeah.
it's always difficult to estimate. Okay, how
Yeah.
long it's going to take? Depends on the crew, like how
Yeah.
they're going to move around, and then
Yeah. And like, I'm not being controversial, I don't think at all, by saying an experienced crew that has worked together,
Yeah.
is used to working together,
yeah,
will do something faster than an inexperienced crew that is working together for the first time.
yes,
So there's this reality here of how fast is
yes,
this crew
Yep.
in this production with this
Exac-
gear in
exactly.
these locations. And so when you do estimates before you start shooting, you're making all sorts of assumptions.
yeah, exactly,
Right.
exactly,
You're
100%.
Yeah.
You're just estimating. That might change.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So when you get into shooting, you need to work out very quickly what the speed of your crew actually is,
Yes.
and be able to respond to that and adjust your plan
yeah.
to deal with whatever.
So that might take
That
a
reality
week
is.
to figure out how long took that first week.
Yeah, I'd say
or a few days maybe.
definitely a few days.
Yeah.
And by the end of a week, I think
Then you know
should
exactly.
know.
Yeah.
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 So I kind of think of it like this: that there's three kind of components to that that are about contribute to your speed. So the first one is how long does it take you to set up?
Yes.
Right, and that is very much about experience of your crew.
Yes.
It's very much about gear.
Yeah.
What,
of course.
what
of course.
is the gear we've got? If you've got
Yep.
3 cameras,
Yeah.
you can change very quickly. If you've got one camera and you need to go from gimbal to
Yeah. Exactly.
sticks, that will
Yep.
take longer.
Yep.
Blah blah blah, all that sort of things. So you've got your setup time. You've then got your coverage.
Yes.
So how many shots am I going to get of this particular scene? How much
Yes.
coverage do I want?
Yep.
And then you've got your performance.
Yes.
or to put it another way, how many takes does the director and the actors need to get the performance that the director is after?
Yeah. So if it depends on the director. Like some directors, they want the performance,
Yep.
and some directors they just want quick, 1 take, 2 takes done.
Yep.
Like not for too much performance.
Yep.
Then they will compromise that way. So some like the director we work with, he was for performance.
Yep.
And then that's why sometimes we were going over because he want that performance, the actors to do their best,
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
And I would think that should be what a director is concerned about.
Exactly.
And the number of takes that it takes to get the performance that the director is after is going to be dependent upon the experience of the cast,
That's right.
the experience of the director,
100%.
but also their ability to communicate with each other.
With the AD and the director together. Or
Well,
the
no,
actor?
the actors.
Actors,
Yeah.
okay.
The ability for the director to know what they want
Exactly.
and to give notes to the
Yes.
actor
Yes.
in a way that the actor can respond to. Like all of that affects how many takes.
That's
you
right.
take. And and there are some scenes that are more emotional than others.
Yes.
That need
Yeah.
need more time as well. But if you think of these three things, so setup, coverage,
And then
performance,
yeah.
as your three levers,
Yep.
like you say, a couple of days in, you should have a pretty good idea of how quick is our setup.
Yeah.
Like what is our speed to get set up and
Yes.
ready to shoot a shot.
Yep.
You should have a pretty good idea of how many takes
It should take.
is it taking to get the performance we're after. Is it 2 to 3 takes? Is it 5 to 6 takes?
Yeah.
Is it more? Those two things are unlikely to change
Yeah.
once you've established them.
Exactly.
And that only leaves you with one other window,
The performance.
coverage.
The coverage. Yes.
Yeah, the coverage. So
Yep.
is this a master
What
wide
shot?
and 2 singles?
Yeah.
Or is this
The
a
whole thing.
lot more?
Yeah.
A lot more shots.
Yeah. Most like sometimes they're just simple, 2 close-ups and a wide.
Yeah, and look, I mean, I've just come off a feature where, where we worked out very quickly that the speed of our crew, and they were a fairly inexperienced crew, very keen, like great crew,
Yes.
really good to work with, but not as fast as an experienced crew because they were learning stuff as they
As
went.
well. Yeah.
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 We knew that it was 4 to 5 to 6 takes.
Yep.
Is what the director wanted to
Okay. To
to
achieve
get
the.
the performance they wanted, but also to give himself options
Okay.
in the edit, so different versions.
Yep.
And so that left us with coverage as our
Okay.
lever. And so we did a lot of not quite oneers,
Okay.
but we did a lot of taking the initial shot list and combining shots
Okay.
together into a
Yep.
single setup
Okay.
to get coverage without having, without
Yeah.
needing
Gotcha.
to
Yeah.
do another setup.
But still, like
do
you were
another series
just
of
moving the
takes.
camera just like once, like
Some
Is
of
it
it
single
was
shot? Single
some
shot?
of it was oneers, yeah.
Oneers? Okay,
Some of it
okay.
was just about
so
framing.
then you had
and-
to work out the blocking and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And so blocking became a really important
Yeah,
part of
yeah. To
of
achieve
our
that.
flow
Yeah.
on set to achieve that.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. So that's kind of the fifth idea.
Yes.
Understanding the reality of what is our speed
Mm.
and being able to respond to that on the fly and adjust your plans from your initial
Yeah.
Estimates
exactly.
to make them reflect
Of course.
the reality. Cool. So here's the last one,
Sure.
number 6. And this is something that we have spoken about before,
Yeah.
which is the idea of visual information radiators. So sticking stuff on the wall,
Yeah.
making it visible. And I did a lot of this on this feature,
Yeah.
where the director had really great storyboards. And so first thing in the morning, I'd turn up,
Yep.
He'd have printed the storyboards,
Nice.
copy out for me, and I'd have them at blue tack, and I'd stick them up on the walls,
Beautiful.
and I'd go, they're stuck up in the order that we're going to do them in, and I'd go, right, this is our we scheduled
Yep.
to start shooting this one at 9 through to 10, and then this
Nice.
scene from 10 through to 11:30, lunch break, blah, blah, blah. And I had all that information up.
Fantastic.
And then as we started the first shot, I'd go, arrow, this is the shot that we're doing.
Yep.
And then once it was done, cross it off.
Nice.
And so at any time you could look there and see where we were at.
Nice.
And when we went, actually, let's change the order,
Yep.
or we've spent longer on this scene than we intended, I just go and just adjusted
Just mark it.
the
Yeah.
times
Nice.
on the wall to reflect
That's
that.
awesome.
Yeah, and
And so that worked really well.
that worked well. Yeah,
That's really good.
Yeah, and I will post some photos of that
Beautiful.
on on Instagram, showing
sure.
those information
Yeah,
radiators.
that's awesome.
But yeah, that's another version of responding to reality. So
Yeah.
inspecting how you're going and adapting on the fly.
Yes.
As you go. And on that shoot, we had 20 scheduled shooting days. We ended up doing 2 days of pickups,
Okay.
which is not bad.
That's pretty good.
That's
pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. And again, pickups are a form of contingency.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
And so if you allow yourself that at the budgeting planning stage, then you're giving yourself
More time, yeah, of course.
that ability to respond to estimates not
Yeah.
being right,
Exactly.
because
exactly.
they'll never be
No.
right.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very hard to, as we said, it's very difficult to estimate.
It is.
Like on a day to day, it totally changes.
Yep.
So, I haven't been on a set. We haven't been overtime.
Yeah.
We haven't gone.
Yeah. I've done a few days where we've been
So
dead on
far,
time.
for me, we never.
Yeah.
We always went overtime.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, that's the success bias where
Yeah.
people always assume the best outcome, that things will go perfectly.
Yeah.
And they never do.
No.
They never,
Yeah.
on any day you might go, 3 out of 5 scenes
Yes.
went like clockwork,
Yeah.
but at least one of the scenes
Exactly.
won't.
I'm just curious because in France they say it's 8 hours.
Yep.
So I know how they do it 8 hours. Like, what's their process of the script, to do it in 8 hours, and everyone's goes home in
Yeah.
8 hours. I'm just
That's-
really curious what's their.
Me too. Yeah. So that's a really good question. I think I would like to do some research on that to
Yeah,
understand.
I mean,
'cause
we should do it
Yeah, I know that other countries don't work
as long.
long days
That's
as we
right.
do. The Coen brothers are renowned for kind of hitting the 6-hour mark and going, "Yep, we've got what we need. Let's call it a day."
That's exactly that's. I'm really Maybe they're doing 2 pages a day, or two scenes a day, or
Yeah, look,
or 3 scenes a day. It's just
some of this is about having contingency, like
Yeah.
not trying to stuff everything into too smaller
yeah.
window. Look, maybe that's something we can speak a bit more about next week.
Yeah, exactly. We could do that, and also, so because it's involved like budget, So if it's a feature, or I know how it works in Europe. So just we need to look into it. I'm
Yeah.
very curious to find out.
And again, at this stage, I think I'd go back to what we talked about last time about innovation.
Yeah,
And the idea that if you give yourself that contingency time to be able to ideate
yeah,
and innovate and do new things,
yes,
that should, all things being equal, come back at you with increased success,
yes,
more money coming
Absolutely.
back, like
Absolutely.
better, quote unquote,
Yep.
profits.
yeah,
So that's, I think that's the interesting area for people in the industry to start to explore, to
Yeah,
go,
I agree. Yeah.
am I prepared to have these conversations with my financial backers to make this argument? Am I prepared to stick my neck out and take a risk and
Yeah. Yeah.
and go, let's
And then experiment and then try.
and
Fail.
maybe fail.
Yeah, fail.
You know,
Yeah, that's
maybe
what. Yeah,
this whole
try and
production
fail. It's
fails.
trial and error basically.
Yeah.
So you got to try it and before you make it.
But
Yeah.
hopefully, like I say, those failures give you like the stepping stones to
Yep.
go, what has that taught me? Right? What have we discovered that
Yes.
nobody's known before? What has that given us the ability to do that's new
Yes.
and amazing?
Yeah, like if you look at like the top directors or DPs, every time I listen their interviews or they were experimenting all the time
At the time. Yep.
because
Yep.
they had that opportunity to do it.
Yep.
And yeah, it just again it comes to
Sure. That's
the team who you with
yep.
and who's your
Yep.
the crew, and they're experimenting sometimes on the job or sometimes before the actual
Yep. Yeah.
yeah man
Cool. Okay, so let me summarize
sure
all those things. So we talked about. So we just started off by going, human beings are bad at
yeah
estimations.
estimation yes
And estimations by definition are wrong. So don't expect them to be right. What you need to do is to use them as your best guess and to inspect and adapt
Yeah.
as you go.
Yeah.
All right. A plan is just a guide
Yes.
to get you through the day. So then we talked about six ideas or six
Yes,
techniques or
techniques,
patterns
yep.
you can use. We talked about estimating in ranges
Yep.
to overcome success bias.
Yes.
So how long will this take? If everything goes right, it'll take half an hour.
Yep.
If some things go wrong, it'll take an hour and a half.
exactly
Right. Super easy. We talked about building in contingency by estimating on a curve.
Yes.
And in particular, the Fibonacci sequence, but could be any sequence. It could be just exponential, like 1 hour, 2 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours.
Yes.
Right. So, yeah, you go when somebody goes, "How long will this take?" And you go, "Oh, it'll be more than half an hour,
Yeah.
but less than 50 minutes." Say 50 minutes.
Yeah.
Right on that scale.
exactly
So you're automatically building in some contingency time. We talked about overcoming peer pressure by getting people to reveal their estimates
yeah
all at the same time, and then discussing the outliers and
how long it's going to
ideating
take
on.
and then what's the reason it's going to take you that long
And
Yeah.
ideating on is that worth spending that time?
Yeah.
Maybe it is, or is there a different way we could do this that allows us to get the same result
yes
quicker? Then we talked about what's the right size of estimable chunk,
yeah
and we talked about scene
yes
or kind of more specifically setup.
Yeah.
So we're going into the bedroom for the first time.
Yes.
So this is a new setup in terms of getting gear
exactly
in there. And that again, like looking at a chunk of that size gives you some contingency.
yes
So it allows the things inside that to ebb and flow a bit, whereas trying to estimate by shot, you just chase your tail.
Yeah.
It takes a lot longer and you're constantly having to recalculate
yes
where you're at.
yes
It's a pain in the ass, if you ask
it
me.
is yeah
We talked about how do you measure reality
yeah
and adjust on the fly.
yeah
And I talked about kind of the three levers, how long it takes to set up,
yeah
how long it takes how many takes
It
does
takes,
it get
yep.
for our director to
performance?
get the performance he wants?
Yep.
And then what's our coverage? How many shots
Yep.
are we going to get? And that very quickly you can see what you work out how long your crew takes to do setups,
Yep.
how many takes the director needs to get what he
Yes.
wants.
Yes.
And so that coverage then really becomes the lever.
liver yep
If you're too tightly scheduled, you're just constantly
just cutting the
cutting coverage,
yep
which is bad.
it is bad
But if you've got contingency,
then yeah
you've got some flexibility
exactly
there. And then we finished off by again talking about information radiators. So
Yeah.
we've gone into a day, we've got a plan. The plan is going to change as soon as we
we go in
start. So make it visible, so that you can adjust it on the fly
Yes.
and people can see what's going
Yeah,
on.
that's a good one because everyone can see what's going to happen on the day,
Yep.
and then they tick everything
Well,
from there.
it's good.
Yep.
Yeah, it feels
yeah,
good.
it's awesome.
Feels good ticking
I love
stuff
that
off.
idea, man. That
Yep.
with the notes and everything.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Cool. So next week,
Yeah.
which will be our final
Yes.
in this run, we're going to talk about building culture on set and some ways that you can go about doing
Yes.
that and create a
That'll be fun.
positive working culture rather than a negative, toxic culture.
Yes.
And I look forward to hearing some stories from you about
Oh, yeah,
some
definitely.
bad cultures you've
Oh, yeah.
experienced.
Oh yeah, definitely.
yeah, cool.
We can do that.
We need to thank David Doe for
Yes, our sound guy.
for our sound. We need to thank Ian
Ian.
Tamawajaja for DPing,
Yes.
bumping the microphone. And also we're thanking Joseph Hopkins for being here tonight. He's joined our team recently, is helping us out with some of our branding, graphic design stuff.
Yep.
He's an amazing production designer, art director, that sort of person with particular interest in 2D animation.
That's right.
That's right, 2D paper-based animation.
Yeah, back to traditional.
Yeah, cool. Nice,
Awesome.
like it.
Thanks again, guys. Thank you so much.
Cool. We are on Instagram, Life
Yep.
on the Film Set,
Facebook,
Life on the Film Set,
um,
the internet,
internet, yeah,
the web,
web,
www.com.
Laugh on the film set. .com.au. Not au, just
Not
.com.
just that, just .com. Yeah, cool.
Okay.
And yeah, we will see you next time to talk about culture.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
See you next time.